7.3 diesel into my Ford Excursion stretch limo, and here's how. It runs. I can't believe it. Well, that's great and all that it runs back there, but we have one major issue. The wiring does us no good. When you open this up, all of this stuff up here is for 2002, which is what our Excursion is. But this entire harness underneath this hood is different. It's all different. The motor harness is okay, but the harness that goes through the firewall that plugs in to everything on this side is different. Way different. A lot harder to make the swap happen. Because this gauge cluster, the odometer spins on a dial, whereas the Excursion after 01, so 02 and 03 is digital for a 7.3. So this is going to be a major problem. So I just wanted to be more thorough as I'm going through some of this to explain some of the stuff that's going on as I'm making more of these videos. 99 to 01 harnesses are very similar. For the most part, the stuff under the hood is its own category on a 99 to 01. But the Excursion is different. We're gonna have to stick to something more 02, 03 to convert the gasoline harness over to the 7.3 diesel harness to make it all work efficiently and as easy as possible. We'll see that in a little bit. that does not look good. Yikes. Ugh. I knew there was a hole in the manifold, but I didn't know it was that bad. Couldn't see it from in where the truck was sitting down on the motor here with the cab, but man, that's yikes. That's pretty bad. Let's take one more good look at it. Wow, those manifold bolts aren't even there. I mean, look at that. That's like a, probably push that with my finger and that one bolt will snap. That's not even a bolt anymore. Neither is that. The whole manifold's actually split around the bolts. We got a decision to make. Decisions. Do we even choose this motor? But this side looks pretty fair over here as well, and the transmission actually looks pretty good. Got a little couple critters on top of there, I guess, eating stuff. It's just always, it's always awesome. I love seeing the cab come up on these things. It's awesome to see the engineering in terms of taking the cab back off and undoing what Ford did a long time ago. And they had the pleasure of putting it together with no rust, and I get the great job of taking it apart with lots of rust. That is a sorry V10 motor sitting there on the floor. Not really, but we're gonna get it up for sale. I'm sure somebody would love to have it for work truck, whatever. Probably somebody needs a motor, so there it is, sitting right there. All jokes aside, I'm not really trying to bash on the V10 too much throughout this whole process. It's just the 7.3 is my pick over a V10 for sure, especially done right with the right amount of power and the right parts. I mean, who wouldn't take a 7.3 over a V10? Several 100,000-mile motor with no problems as long as it's fixed right. Whereas this, a little bit of a different story. I mean, I'm sure there's people who have made it far miles with this, but nothing compared to the 7.3. The 7.3 will run forever as long as it's taken well care of. So there we have it, the 7.3 Excursion Limo. This thing's 28 feet long and it's a diesel now. Isn't that awesome? This whole process was amazing. We started out with that V10 gas engine. Truck had 200,000 miles on it. And yeah, it was a gasser for a good reason. The limo company doesn't want a loud diesel motor, but we do here. We want the 7.3, we want the hood stack and all that kind of stuff for the fun of the truck. This was a fun project and nothing but that. Nothing for reality. This isn't a serious driver or anything like that. It was all fun and games. But I'm proud to stand in front of this thing and show off the hard work and the uniqueness of this vehicle, because this is one of the coolest trucks I think I've ever driven in, and I've had a couple cool ones that I've done before. But I think this is on the top of the list as of right now. So obviously the truck's a 2002. Stretch limo, has a 10-foot stretch in the middle here. So from behind this door, they cut the limo, or they cut the Excursion. They put in this huge 10-foot section, and then from here back is the other half of the Excursion. So that's how they got this truck to be how it was. And when it fell into my hands, like we said, it was stock. It was unmodified except for the limo part, and there was really nothing that cool other than it being a limo. So obviously the video showed a little bit of what we did. We went with a 7.3 Powerstroke under the hood. You can take a quick look at that right now. I'll pop the hood. I was up in the air originally about what engine to put under this hood. I put out a poll probably 3 months back at this point when I very first got this. I paid $3 grand for this limo as it sat untouched, which is very cheap. And I put a poll out there, a feeler, to see what people wanted to see. And I had probably somewhere between 3,000 to 4,000 people answer it on various different platforms. And the majority of people, it seems, wanted to see a 7.3 Powerstroke, so that's what we put in here. I was up in the air about putting a 6.0 Powerstroke because that would have been also fairly straightforward swap. And I also had some other people throw out crazy ideas. I wasn't going to put a Cummins in this thing. And then also people were saying put a 6.4 in it, put a 6.7, all these crazy things, which would have been awesome. But we were trying to stay a little bit on a budget, and I got all these parts to make this happen basically for free. So we tried to keep it as easy as possible. And I found out one thing that was very interesting when I put the poll out. I had probably 10 people say, please put a 7.3 in. Seems that 7.3 owners are more polite. I didn't have one 6.0 guy say please. No please, no thank you, no none of that. The 7.3 guys were very polite in their asking. And I drive a 6.0 on the daily on my dually pickup truck, so very interesting. We had, like I said, though, we had a bunch of crazy other ideas, people begging for me to do this or that or whatever, but had the parts to do the 7.3, and we figured it out and put it in. Here's the 7.3, super clean, this particular one. As I like to say, you can practically eat your lunch off the top of this motor. This thing's super clean, as you saw in the video. And I was up in the air about the 93,000 mile engine that I was gonna put in here from the beginning. It was a 2000, and this one, which was an 02. I needed all the 02 electronics, so we went with this one. That one needed more work to get it up to speed, needed an oil pan, needed a exhaust manifold, up pipes. I mean, it needed a lot of stuff to get that thing going. Whereas this, I literally was able to pull it out, be on my way. It had a new oil pan already. Somebody just did it. Somebody just did the rear main seal on it and all that sort of stuff. So it was leak-free. It's a very good running 7.3. Was never tuned until now. But take a good look, Julia, at that nice shiny piece all the way there in the back. That is a KC 300X Stage 1 turbo. This thing moves. When I say even on a stock tune with that turbo, this thing absolutely boogies. It's insane. And I said it in the last videos, you don't need that much horsepower to have fun. And this, let me tell you, this truck is a lot of fun. It's tuned, it's got a daily tune of, I think it's 60 horsepower daily tune, and it's got 140 horsepower extreme tune on it. And it's got the low idle, which I'll show you that. All right, so that's pretty much it underneath the hood here. We went with a hood stack, just real quick. This is cheap. I got this on eBay, this actual tip here. And I took the stock down pipe and I welded it, made various elbows to weld it, it took me, I don't know, 30 minutes. This is the cheapest exhaust you can put on your 7.3 is a hood stack, believe it or not. If you know how to weld, all you need is a stock down pipe. You don't need all this length of pipe to run it out the back. So I was originally kind of up in the air. Do we straight pipe it out the back? Do we put a hood stack on it? Hood stack was more fun in my opinion. All right, so come around on this side. Wanted to make the vehicle ours, right? We want people to know who's driving it. There's our website right there, ziggybrothers.com. That'll take you to our used car dealership. We sell a lot of used trucks, so wanted that to be brand recognition on the side. So then just another thing worth talking about, obviously it makes this thing stand out a bunch, is the wheels. The wheels are huge. 37-inch tires on 24 by 14 rims that we actually, me and Julia picked these up in her little Ford Bronco. The little Ford Bronco Sport, we put all 4 of these wheels in the trunk and it fit by that much. And yeah, they're good wheels. The tread's got good tread on them. They were cheap, got them on Facebook, nothing crazy. I just wanted something a little bit more to help the vehicle stand out. I mean, it's a freaking billboard. I don't know how you miss it, but the wheels and all that make it that much cooler. And then one last thing on the outside, this thing has a freaking tow hitch on it. What are you gonna tow with this thing? I mean, this is obviously the factory excursion tow hitch that's bolted to the frame, but I mean, how much can you honestly tow with a limo? I don't know. I'm sure it can do it because it's all solid steel underneath the frame. I showed that in the last video, kind of where they cut the frame and then they put a huge rail in to extend it. It's pretty cool actually. But just like little other challenges that came along with it, drive shaft was a little bit different underneath. Drive shaft in this thing is like, it's gotta be like 15 feet long. It's huge. Just little other challenges between the gas and diesel too was the fuel tank I showed a little bit. Had to drop the tank, convert it over to a diesel sending unit and a diesel filler neck and all that sort of thing. The fuel lines had to adjust them a little bit. Fuel pump, because the gas has a fuel pump in the tank. Whereas the diesel has the fuel pump up on the frame rail. Just little things. And yeah, let's look at the inside. This is the coolest part, I think. It's a little bit worn. I will warn you before we go in here. It's 23 years old, so don't expect the world out of it, but this is pretty cool. You can climb in here and you can fit, I think, 9 people in here legally. That's at least the manufacturer or whoever built the limo, that's their rating on the door as 9 passengers. I think that actually includes the driver, so you get 8. But it's got this nice L-shaped bench. Seats are in perfect shape. They're really nice. Carpet is something to be better, I think, in my opinion, as well as this bar. The bar was probably sweet when this thing was brand new, but it's kind of getting its age and falling apart. Little various pieces need to be fixed. But in terms of just coming in here, the speaker system works. I mean, you could put your drinks in here and stuff, but like I said, it's a little bit worn down, but it's cool. It looks great. The ceiling looks great. Get some lights in here, clean it up a little bit, fix a couple things. And this will be the perfect truck to take to near here is MetLife for the concerts. And PNC, if we go to some country concerts, would be awesome. But just go to events like that, pack all of our friends in here, and let's go have a good time. All right, so I know everybody's gonna ask me, how hard was the wiring to get the 7.3 done? I know this wasn't a full how-to on every wire by wire. You gotta cut the wire harness open, you gotta switch harnesses ideally. But in terms of making this excursion stuff work and some of the various things going on in here, you gotta cut the wires open, dissect a few things, which all comes with experience. It's not something that I can just show you in a 5-minute video. You got to know kind of what you're doing. You have to have dabbled with a little bit of the Powerstrokes and the Super Duties and the wiring, and trial and error basically is what it comes down to. I've looked at a lot of these trucks. I've bought my first 7.3 when I was 15 and I'm 25 now, 10 years later. I've looked at taking apart a lot of them down to the frame. So A lot of things I learned on the go. But was it a terribly hard job? No. It's all mostly switching wires and just knowing how to make stuff work with other parts of the truck. Very procedural, if you want to call it that. And then also, people are going to ask me, how much money does it cost? How much money does this truck cost? I actually have a good question for you guys too, is how much is this truck worth? Is there a market for it? 7.3 Excursion Limo. I don't think I've ever seen one anywhere. They're all gas out there because that's what the limo company wants. Nobody in the back wants to hear the motor running, like I said before. What's it worth? I would love to build one and sell it. I'm not selling this one, but to answer the question of how much is into the truck, bought it for $3. Turbo was, I forget, $1,500. The wheels were like $1,300 with the lug nuts and all that. What else? The donor truck I bought was $1,000, and funny enough, I took the gas engine out of the truck, the V10, and I sold the whole thing for $1,000. So the donor truck was a break even. All the parts I needed to make it happen was a break even by selling the gas engine that came out of the truck. So I think somewhere between 5 and 6 is kind of what I'm at, where I'm at. Probably 6 is what I'm into the truck. And that's like really not that much money. You probably would think I'd have a lot more than that. But it's just having a bunch of parts at the tips of my hands, having the trucks. Finding this for $3 was a big help. I had to drive like 4 hours to go find this and then drive it 4 hours back on the trailer, which was one heck of a trip because this thing barely fit on our 30-foot trailer. But that's pretty much it. Plans for the future. What do you guys want to see with it? I have a couple plans. This is definitely going to Diesels of New York. I'm going to try to get in the burnout pit up there. This thing can do one heck of a burnout. This thing can spin the wheels pretty good for how big it is. I want to take it up there definitely on August 16th. So hopefully I see some people there. And then plans, it's 2-wheel drive currently. Want to make it 4-wheel drive. I already have the axle and all the components to make that work. Just got to find a free weekend, which is going to be tough right now. Drop the axle, convert it, make it 4-wheel drive. It's already got the 4-wheel drive transmission, so that's going to be a very easy thing to do. Could knock it out, like I said, one weekend with Steve in the garage. We'll be able to get it done. And then as far as that goes, just a fun vehicle to go to a lot of shows with, and I'm talking diesel shows and also the country shows, because we'll use it for both, for fun and also to just go to the shows and hang out and do some burnouts and whatever. But that's pretty much it. Let me know what you guys want to see with it. There will be definitely more on this project because there's a couple things that I like to fix up and show you guys. But this is mostly complete for where we're at right now. I'm very happy with how it turned out. I think it looks amazing. Hope you guys liked the video. If you like projects like this, got a bunch more coming up. Trying to make more quality videos, like hit the hammer on one video at a time rather than doing a bunch of rinky-dink videos. I like to do it all the right way and get the quality out there. So the next project, I'm going to say, I got another truck plan that I'm building. Me and Steve are going to build this one. It's going to make this truck look stupid. Like it's going to top this by a mile. It's way better than even this is sitting here. So hope you guys are excited for that. I will let you know what that is very shortly, probably within the next month. So appreciate you guys watching as always, and I'll catch you on the next one.